My name is Liz Partsch.
And I am Nanny McPhee. And just kidding. I'm Paul Rowley.
And welcome to Farm and Dairy's Weekly Rundown,
where we'll be giving you a rundown of all of the latest news and stories in the paper. I just want to also, I am serving Nanny McPhee realness because I have a sty in my eye. I'm breaking out. I'm exhausted. Eye bags are, what do they call them? Dior or something. I'm a mess.
Yeah.
I'm really tired. But we're here. We're doing the
Yeah.
thing. It just hit me as I sat down, like, oh, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So we're going through it. But we're here to talk to you about the news.
Yeah, and exciting news, 3-day work week coming up for lots of people. Happy 4th of July.
Yes.
At Farm and Dairy, we're celebrating, obviously, but even more importantly, we are going to be celebrating water quality.
Oh, yeah.
And more importantly than that, thinking about how it is now and what needs to improve, because that is a topic of our July 2nd issue, which Paul is spearheading. So I'm going to send it off to you, Paul. You can talk more about this issue and, water quality.
Water quality, water quality. Water, water everywhere, not a drop to spare. Did you like that? Okay. All right. So I'm going to actually take you guys to a village that is on the border of West Virginia. It is in Ohio. It's called the village of Yorkville and has about a population of about 1,000 people or so. And that is where I met Tim Smith, who was there, and he was helping to coordinate an effort to clean up the riverbank that is in Yorkville. Now, Yorkville is located right on the Ohio River, which no doubt many of you are familiar with. She is about 1,000-mile long river, and let me tell you where the headwaters of this river is located at the confluence of the Allegheny and Monongahela. How do you pronounce it?
Monongahela.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't even know what you were saying until you said, how do you pronounce it? I'm like, wait, is he?
That's exactly what I was. You were on. You were with me. And that, obviously, it begins in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which Liz is going to talk to us more about very soon. The Ohio River flows southwesterly to its mouth all the way on the Mississippi River in Cairo, Illinois, which I've seen lots of videos about Cairo and like urban decay. Cairo's an interesting place. It's all over the internet. But anyway, the Ohio River is also known for other things, besides being very long and very important to people because a lot of people's drinking water is derived from the river. And it has also been an industrial hotbed over the last century or so. But that industry, which flourished along the Ohio River's banks, has also come at the expense of the health of the 25 million residents who live in its watershed, who have to endure not only pollution of the river, both air, because of like the industry pumping all kinds of unkind things into the air, but also the water itself, which if you are an avid reader of Farm and Dairy, you will have known that earlier this February, I wrote a series on PFAS, which is, I cannot tell you what the acronym is, but it is forever chemicals. That is what it's colloquially known as. And that has been detected in not only the river itself, but also the tributaries that feed off of it, which is a problem for a lot of municipal water systems and residents who are concerned, like what is in my water that I am drinking and reliant on. And so these are all the things that are happening in the Ohio River. But Tim Smith, back to Yorkville, was there. This was like the Saturday before Father's Day this year, so just a couple weeks ago. And he was there helping to coordinate a big cleanup that's part of something called the Ohio River Sweep. And that is a totally basin-wide initiative that sees volunteers gather from March to October, and they get together and they clean the river of like trash and debris and all kinds of things that just fall into the river. The Ohio River, very fun fact, not so fun. Actually, it's very not fun at all. But it is the largest, nation's largest body of water without dedicated federal funding or a standalone EPA program office for pollution cleanup and habitat restoration.
Wow.
It just doesn't have one. And so the people that are doing,
That's wild.
isn't that crazy? And the people that are doing the river sweep, this type of event, that's like more than the government is doing for the Ohio River. Like they're doing the work.
And it's wild because, like, I mean, I'm sure you'll get to this, but I mean, the amount of people that drink, millions of people that
like 25
use for drink water out of this river, and it's not even like protected at all.
Yeah, you got your Clean Water Act, and she has helped kind of like keep things from being apocalyptic, I think. But you know, there's only so much that can happen there, and the fact that the EPA just sort of, I don't know, the Ohio River is kind of an oversight. It's sort of like, well, you know, she's there. We know her.
Can I ask you a question? I don't know if you, I don't know if it's too early to ask a question like that, but I'm curious because, like, you know, the Ohio River flows through multiple states. So it also must be difficult to regulate because, like Pennsylvania, I know like we have like a right to clean water. There was something in our, you know, government that says that, but in West Virginia, it's a different story, right?
Yeah, it's a patchwork.
Yeah.
And so you've got all kinds of people with different ideas that are sort of all trying to do the best that they can in most cases. And so, yeah, there's not sort of like an you know, not some sort of like guiding principle at all, or again, because it's so large, you would just think that the government would have some sort of investment in like maintaining it. But drum roll, please. Yes, thank you. That could be underway. Someone, instead of the current system, which is again sort of like each state kind of deciding like what they would like to see for the river. The bipartisan, this is something we don't hear very often. It's called the Ohio River Restoration Program Act, and it is a piece of legislation that was introduced in February by U.S. Senators John Fetterman, who is a Democrat from Pennsylvania, and Todd Young, who is a Republican from Indiana. And they got together to write this legislation that would support a bunch of things for the river. It would support habitat restoration, which is a big problem here because, again, with industry, a lot of habitat tends to be eroded and whatnot. It would support farm conservation along the river. It would support invasive species control in the river. It would also invest in pollution prevention, which we love, and expand monitoring and data collection to better manage the river and its tributaries, which we love. And that would be so helpful for so many communities, including some that I've even just had the privilege to report on before. They really need like some kind of support, like managing polluted water, or like, you know, even just assuring their residents that the water they have is safe to drink. So having some sort of support from the federal government behind them to ensure that it is would be like a real big boost. Because right now, a lot of these communities are, especially like in the PFAS series that I did earlier this winter, it's like a lot of like towns just trying to scrape together money from lawsuits against the companies that like introduced all these chemicals to the waters. And so anyway, it's kind of a big mess. So this would cut through kind of all of it, at least some things, and be like, we're going to fix a lot of these problems. And the bill would also back workforce development tied to restoration work, help communities prepare for extreme storms and flooding, which is like very more and more common all the time in all kinds of different places, and emphasize public engagement so that residents along the river have a formal seat at the table for the first time, which is kind of cool because I talked to one person in particular for this story who is a environmental justice advocate, and she works for a pro bono law firm. She's really cool, and the organization is cool that she's from. And she was talking about how like basically for all of these millions of people that live in the basin, they just kind of had a backseat and just sort of had to like be okay or be resigned to like whatever like the power brokers, quote unquote, along the river would just decide for them. And that's like not an equitable like situation at all. So it's lots of very, very big giant things that can happen here. And then for places like Little Yorkville, this act could even just provide money for things that they need, like creek clean outs. There's an example in my article that I talk about really briefly where like the EPA had gotten involved when they wanted to dredge a creek because there was like washouts that were occurring around this creek. And the river water or the creek water itself is like literally tinged with yellow and orange because it's drainage coming from the mines that are in this area. But the EPA was like, well, you can't dredge this stream or whatever because it's literally, you're going to pollute the water further. And it's like, it's already yellow. It's orange and yellow. Like it's already polluted. We just don't want it to like wash out our roads. So like this act, one thing that I wanted to really focus on is that if everyone can like come together now and like understand all of the, not only just the river, but like the ecology around it, and like have having the federal government have a greater understanding of the situation, of the health of the river, of the communities around it, can only improve life for all of the people who live in the Ohio River Basin. So that is the encapsulation of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've done a lot of quality reporting, Paul.
Well, I tried.
Yeah.
What can I say? But it's an interesting piece, and it's one of, I guess, the privileges of working at Farm and Dairy, which is that you get to really take a granular look at like, impressive and major and important and vital waterways such as the Ohio River, or our beloved Lake Erie or something like that. So it's really cool, and so many people, their lives revolve around it or depend on it, or they intertwine with it somehow, or it's so there's lots of stories to tell here. So
yeah.
yeah.
So you went to river cleanup for the story?
I did.
So I'm just curious, what was maybe the most eye-opening aspect of doing that? Like, did you have like a revelation after that? Be like, wow,
I did.
that's something you didn't realize before.
That's a great question. Thank you. I did. And so actually, when I first drove here, I was in my car, and everyone has heard about my car. It doesn't have air conditioning. So I was like sweltering. It just went out. I have to get it fixed. I don't know. I'm sweltering, and I'm driving with the windows down, and like it's an early Saturday morning, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna get here. And I thought, kind of like in my head, picturing what I was going to see, which was people, doing their best cleaning a river, but feeling sort of like it was a chore, like I thought, like at the very least, like they'd be like, oh, we're here again to like clean up, from our kind of negligent fellow citizens who have thrown trash in the river, and like, we'd rather be doing something else, but like it's a good thing, and all right, whatever. Like, and I kind of just figured, like, I don't know, it was pretty cynical, I would say. And when I got there, after talking to a couple people who live in the area, including the mayor of Yorkville, what I realized is that the Ohio River is literally one of the best parts of living in Yorkville, which is a very small community that I had the impression, at least, does not feel like it's heard very much from, far and wide, from like just like the county seat of government to the state government. Like if they've got a problem in Yorkville, a municipal problem, it's hard to get someone's attention to come out and see it. You know what I mean? Or like to do something about it, or like to, give a little bit of money to like make something that is a problem go away, or fix something, or do something better for the people there. Like it's a community that does not feel like it's heard very often. But like one thing that everyone can agree on is like just fantastic in its own right is the Ohio River, and how much time that they've spent recreating on the river and boating and water skiing, and just being like active in this kind of beautiful place in a community that is probably not, I would say, the most economically prosperous, like the Ohio River is it, and they want everything good to come to the river, because everything good that comes to the river will come to Yorkville. And that's so true. And so I was really able to appreciate that, and like, oh, like, they love this river, and they're happy to, like, every single year for the past like 30 years to do this, to be a part of this river cleanup effort, to just like, we're here. Like it's a tradition. The Tim Smith that I was talking about, he used to be a like a Boy Scout leader, and he was like, my Boy Scouts that I just like, head of the troop of or whatever, they're here today, some of them with their families. Like it's this
cool.
tradition that is like kept going, because they all care very much about like the health, but also the future of the river. And so it was like very enlightening to me, like, oh yes, okay, so that was neat. And I think that they're all really cool people down there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Just to see like how important
Yeah.
the natural feature is.
Right.
It brings people to the town, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. And they love it. It brings them out too. And they
Mhm.
have all these happy memories out there. So I was like, oh, that's nice. So yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess segueing into what I will
Yes.
be talking about, I guess, is the question, is it safe?
Right.
What can we be doing in the river though?
Right.
So that, as I'm going to talk about, is in line with our June 2nd issue, because the cover of our auction section is by a University of Professor water researcher named Daniel Bain, and he asks the question, is it safe to swim in Pittsburgh's rivers?
Ooh,
so
interesting.
kind of along the same vein.
Yeah.
As people that don't know, Pittsburgh is home to 3 rivers. it has the Monongahela.
Thank you for correcting the
if
pronunciation.
you're ever skeptical or forget, just call it the Mon. That's what people call it locally. And
Good to know.
What I've called it.
Cool.
But yeah, so the Mon, we have the Allegheny, and then we have the Ohio, and the Allegheny and Monongahela flow and make the Ohio River, aka, and then the birth of the Ohio River. Everybody, if you didn't know that. So Bain said he was excited to take on this question: is it safe? After newly drafted Pittsburgh Steelers offensive guard Jennings Dunker in May asked a news reporter whether it was okay to swim in the rivers or eat fish he planned to catch. And he said that this question revealed just a really widespread uncertainty within Pittsburgh about whether to swim or to stay far away. I think a lot of residents really don't know the answer.
Yeah.
So Bain, who is an associate professor of geology and environmental science, studying how human activity reshapes waterways and urban landscapes, sought out to answer this through his field work with the Pittsburgh Water Collaboratory, tracking changes in the city's streams and rivers over time. And according to Bain, so roughly 50 years ago, a survey found that only one fish lived in Bradford Locks, which is one of
lonely fish.
Very crazy that it was just one.
Yeah.
That's wild. But yeah, that was one of 9 organizational structures of the Monongahela River. And then he says a more recent survey done in 2010 found 23,000 fish, including 32 different species.
Wow.
So significant recovery, obviously.
Yeah.
1 from 1 to 32,000. But Bain says fish populations alone do not signify that a body of water is swimmable. According to federal and state EPA guidelines, swimmable waters have an estimated contamination threshold below which swimming poses a meaningful health risk. So that's, I guess, just contamination level is basically to determine is it safe.
Yeah.
Bain says the answer to this question, at least in conclusive for specifically the Pittsburgh rivers, comes down to sewage.
Oh.
Yeah. So the city has inherited hundreds of sewer overflow points throughout the city's 3 rivers because it has the Allegheny, Monongahela, and Ohio. Mm-hmm. And there are hundreds of points in the sewer network where heavy rain pushes a mixture of stormwater and raw sewage directly into the rivers. So the Allegheny County Sanitary Authority, the regional sanitary authority, which regulates this stuff, says overflows can occur with as little as 1/10 of an inch of rain, making the rivers unswimmable for at least 48 hours after rainstorms. Oh, wow. So obviously that's a big deal. You don't want to be swimming in sewage. And if you're wondering why, well, Pittsburgh has seen the reasons why. So in 2022, wait, oh my God, oh my God, how am I not? Okay. The year of 2002. My God, my brain just did a total
it's been a day.
Yeah, so, it's been a day. Anyways, decades ago, a city councilor promoting the Pittsburgh Triathlon had to swap the swim leg for a bike leg after an overflow. And in 2013, triathlon racers reportedly fell ill after competing following a storm.
Oh.
Supposedly probably from sewage.
Yeah.
In 2016, the triathlon also became a duathlon. So for multiple times, I don't even know. I didn't look up on my own whether there's ever been a triathlon swum in the rivers. Yeah. But it seems like they've tried multiple times and haven't been able to do it because of the sewage problem.
Yeah.
So alongside the sewage, we got the sewage problem. The rivers are also obviously have a lengthy industrial past, as you touched upon in your story. The Ohio River has been home to industry for years. Same with the Monongahela.
Yeah.
So, you have abandoned coal mines and slag piles being mountains of waste left over from steel mining and coal operations that end up in the river. All this contamination ends up in the river. And as far as fishing, Pennsylvania issues specific advisories on how you can fish safely or how much fish you can safely eat from a given stretch of river. So that's guidelines for fishing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Bain kind of ends on a note just saying the Steeler players' optimism in wanting to swim and fish in the rivers is a good step in the right direction. People having an interest in asking these questions. But in conclusion, there are times when it's certainly not safe to swim. And other times it's just a personal call. So basically no is the answer.
Wow. Because
even when he talks about lengthy past, he mentions it's still a personal call. You don't know what's in there. So yeah, I guess that's kind of what he comes to the conclusion of.
Mm-hmm. Okay. While you were talking, I was thinking about, do you remember the Paris Olympics a couple of years ago? Mm-hmm. And Celine Dion, they
cleaned this, what is it, the Seine?
Yes. And so I remember that it was a Herculean effort to get, I think it was even just a portion of the river that would be a place that people could actually safely be in. Do we have any sort of idea or base, of a baseline of what the river would need in order for people to like safely swim in it and like not have to think twice about it? Like, do we have any idea of that, or just I'm just riffing, honestly, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so.
okay,
I mean,
yeah.
I I don't.
It seemed like it was so much work in Paris for them to get it to that. I was like, what do they have to do here to like make it?
Well, I feel like the problem with our area is that we still have all these industry,
Oh
and I
yeah,
don't see
yeah.
how, pessimistically, sorry everyone,
Hmm.
how the rivers will ever be swimmable until we have,
So people stop
not to
dumping
call out
in
the
it.
big names, but until
Yeah.
U.S. Steel and other companies stop dumping stuff in the Monongahela,
Yeah.
and other rivers, until we have all these polluters, even in West Virginia,
Yeah.
that's the crazy thing about when you talk about borders.
Yeah.
The Ohio River goes beyond borders.
Mhm.
So think about DuPont.
Yeah.
They're still dumping PFAS into the Ohio River,
Mhm.
and it's affecting Ohioans just on the other side of the river, but it's in West Virginia, so you can't do anything about it.
Mhm.
And that's still affecting all of the millions of other residents in the 3 states
Yeah.
and beyond. But we have these borders, and there is, like you said, there's maybe this legislation will help with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't see how water quality is really ever going to improve to the point of I want to swim in this until people stop just dumping stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't really surprised that the answer was no, it's not safe
Yeah.
swim in this river.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived in Pittsburgh my entire life. I remember growing up, my aunt, her husband always likes these boats, and he would always take us out on the Ohio River, Monongahela, and we would tube. We love tubing.
Yeah.
My aunt, we'd always try to get my aunt to go in, and she's like, you know what they say, don't swim in the Mon.
Oh,
She'd
really?
always say that. And I never truly understood what that meant until I started like getting in probably this job, honestly, and learning about all what's on the rivers,
Yeah.
Then it started kind of making sense why some people aren't comfortable at all.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I've also had experiences where they have like kayaking that you can kayak on the rivers
Oh, wow.
downtown.
Yeah.
And it's great. I wouldn't say don't do it because it was a fun experience,
Mhm.
but I remember floating down the rivers and seeing rats the size of like this, dead, floating, multiple, like rats in corners of the bridges, just that big floating.
What?
Don't know how that has to do with water quality. Maybe it does, but
Ugh.
just in my own experience, I was in a kayak, so
Yeah.
that was fun, but I'm not gonna, but seeing that and then also knowing all the industry that's along the rivers doesn't make me want to swim in it and put
No, I
my
bet.
bare body and my skin in it.
No. Yeah.
I still think they can be enjoyed like on a boat.
Yeah.
And like maybe you could fish and just like catch and release because that is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's it is definitely an interesting question because like in the place that you wrote about, like it's a big pride with Pittsburgh, right? We want people to come here for the rivers,
Right.
but at the same time, there's like a line of like this is what you should enjoy in the rivers, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to keep yourself safe, like for the
Yeah.
the greater. Yeah. Wow. I was gonna ask you too if you had any like other like happy memories on the river, or like if there is if you have, because I guess it's kind of a curse being a reporter, I think sometimes, and that like you have like all of this access to information in addition to like your own perspective on something, like, or your personal experience with it or something. But I'm curious if you had like any thoughts about the direction that the river is headed currently. We obviously still know we have how should I call them? Not like violators, but like certain organizations that are making life perhaps harder than it should be on the river. But like, do you have a sense from either like reporting that you've done or just like what you've seen anecdotally that like, oh, you know what, today's a good day on the river?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's important to say that, like, without a doubt, the river is cleaner than it was back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, that is unquestionable. And the reason is because we have regulations now
Yeah.
that,
And we love
support
regulations.
that, right?
Yeah.
We don't have, like...
Some of them,
Exactly. And, so yeah, no, without a doubt, it's definitely cleaner.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't say it's necessarily clean. There's a lot of good organizations that do a lot of work. I mean, Three Rivers Waterkeeper does a lot of work.
Yeah, I've heard
There's
of them.
a bunch of other river organizations in Pittsburgh that solely focus on that. And I think, they're doing a great job, So I mean, as far as like cleaning it up forever, I mean, like I said, how can you clean something up when the problem is pollution and the pollution continues? But I don't know, did I answer the question, or is there like another part to it?
Oh, I was just riffing, but no, I think you got it. Just like if you had a perspective, which you just kind of told me on like the future of the river, it sounds like things are going in the right direction. They just maybe should be working a little. We'd like to see them working a little bit harder towards like getting the river to a more pristine, place or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
we've definitely made progress. That's
good to know.
Yeah, definitely made some progress.
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know, maybe it is actually just the legislation you're talking about. We need more protections.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, honestly, if I want to be honest, I think we need to start, instead of just penalizing these billion-dollar companies that are along the Ohio River,
like a speeding ticket.
Maybe we should actually do something that actually incentivizes them to not continue doing it, because just slapping them with like a fine is not stopping them from continuing to do it, therefore making the waters dirtier, therefore making it more of a risk for people to enjoy the rivers, which we've already established here on this podcast is a pride and a source of pride for the people that live near the rivers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if anything, I think that the agencies responsible for oversight need to start doing a better job of actually incentivizing the polluters to stop.
You're here.
Because I feel like, like the community action is great, right? Like that is really important. Local community support and like these river cleanups are so important because we don't have a lot of that right now. But also you need legislation, you need enforcement, because like that, we can continue cleaning something up. It's like a perpetual cleanup, basically.
Yeah.
Anyways. Wow. Anyways, you didn't think we were going to be talking about water quality and how gross the rivers are.
Yeah, we got there.
On 4th of July. But when you're floating in your boat in downtown Pittsburgh or whatever river you're on, looking at the fireworks, just think about
a drink in one hand and a hot dog in the other hand.
A drink in one hand, not water from the river, because you don't want to do that.
Beverage of your choice.
Just appreciate the river for what it is, but don't think too deeply about what's in it.
Amen. Yeah.
Exactly. Same thing for our foods. You could say anything about actually anything, really. So
there's really good reporting out there. I'm glad you brought up the food, because I'm so interested in like I can't even think of the name right now, which is I guess maybe a blessing in a way, but like the standardization, if for lack of another word, of like when you go to a restaurant and you order like a thing on the menu and it tastes the same because it's coming from like the same distributor of the food that owns like all of the food that we get, and it's all kind of like, it doesn't matter like where you're getting an Angus beef burger from this restaurant or from that run or whatever, and they're all supposed to be your like neighborhood spot, and they all taste the same because they're coming from like this distributor. And there's really good reporting about how that is bringing like the quality of food down, and how like it's being like these giant corporations are pushing out like these like the farms, for example, that are like making like actual quality food. Anyway, so that is like on my agenda because I'm so fascinated about that. I don't know when I'm gonna get to that, but
no, that's definitely true, because like also a lot of like green brands, like think of Native deodorant. They were like an independent brand, and then suddenly they get bought up by the humongous like multi-corporation, and suddenly there's 15 more products added to their deodorant.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I wonder if it's almost an exclusively American problem, because that's happened. Yeah, that happens like all the time. We have a lot of
exclusively American problems.
And then it almost like convinces you like, oh, I have a choice, but really you don't have a choice, because no matter what choice you have, you're going to be supporting the humongous company.
Yeah.
And then it stinks. You don't even have it. Like you're trying to be healthy, but it's almost like a scam.
Yeah. Right.
Because you're not actually being healthy, because actually there's all these ingredients and the same, everything's the same.
Yeah.
We're just making it look like you do have a choice.
Yeah. Wow. America.
Wow. America.
Happy birthday.
America, you think you have a choice. Just kidding. Yeah. You do have a choice. And the choice is to celebrate. Because we've been talking about America 250 for so long.
Oh, we have. And then to inform yourself as well. It's your choice on how much information you'd like. But, at least you know the truth. So.
But be safe. It's going to be really hot this week.
Yeah.
So everybody wear sunscreen and drink water and, enjoy the 4th of July in an appropriate way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Nicely said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it? Or did you have anything else to add? Okay.
I can also let everyone know, I'll just share the this little news point that you should expect a moderate harmful algal bloom on Lake Erie this summer, probably starting next month. in July sometime. We don't know exactly where the harmful algal bloom is gonna, like what shore it's gonna hug. If it's gonna hug Michigan or if it's gonna hug Ohio, it depends on the winds. But it's expected to be moderate, and there's more information about the findings that were shared at the forecast that was delivered by NOAA. And you can see that in the paper as well this week if you'd like some information about that. So keep a lookout for that harmful algal bloom.
Yeah.
It's going to be out there.
But, yeah. Watch out.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, happy 4th of July, everyone. You find all your news on farmandairy.com, or you can find your local newsstand and pick up a print copy for yourself.
Yeah.
And have a good week.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Bye for now.